Okay. Ron, tell me how you got started in tennis in a brief description of your career from player to college coach to.
Well, it's been quite a journey, thinking about my path, in tennis, and started when I was 8 years old. And I remember driving my bike or riding my bike in a summer day and passing a little junior or middle school. And there were kids, playing tennis on the courts. There were 2 courts, and there were probably 12 kids out there with a coach. And I sat there and looked at him, and he invited me inside. I actually met up with him this summer, and after all these years, but he put a racket in my hand, and at the end of the camp, which he let me come to for free, we had a little serving contest, and I won the contest, and the winner received a tennis racket, and that racket was a Jack Kramer autograph Wilson racket, and I thought it was the greatest thing ever. And so between that and my family, because my mom kind of was introduced to tennis a little bit, and my brothers and sister started playing a little bit, so I started following along, and that's how it started. And from there, I loved all sports, and so I was involved in baseball and basketball and other things, but tennis became my true passion, and fortunately, when I was 13 years old, Bill Tim moved to Huntsville, Alabama, and I started working with him and joined his junior development program and continued to get better and better and just kept working harder and harder at it. And I was always an introvert. So for me, I think one of the greatest skills that I always had was the ability to listen to people instead of talk. And so I think because of that, I was willing to learn a little bit more. And so I continued to progress because of the great coaches that I had and the people that I worked with and the players that were around, and was able to end up parlaying that junior career into a college scholarship at Georgia Tech, which was really important for me and my family because education was important. It's something that my parents weren't able to do, to go to college. And so my brothers and my sister and I were the first generation really to start going to university and getting a college degree. And so I was able to do that at Georgia Tech, where I played on a great team, became All-American there my senior year, which was an amazing honor, and kind of gave me the confidence to go on and play professionally for 9 or 10 years on the ATP Tour. So I had all these great experiences as a player. Was able to play Wimbledon multiple times and the U.S. Open, and just travel the whole world and gain so much valuable experience. And I always say that those first 25 years as a player really prepared me for life after my playing days, which is life as a coach. And I feel like that's been the most important stage of my life, getting married after playing, and in 1999, starting my career at Georgia Tech as a women's tennis coach there, helping that program develop. One of the biggest highlights of my coaching career is winning a national championship at Georgia Tech on the courts in Athens, Georgia. Just really, really special night when we beat UCLA that night, and something I'll never forget, because I always said that you accomplish way more, and it feels so much better when you do things as part of a team rather than just individually. And so for me, that was just amazing that we went from one of the weakest teams in our conference to the best team in the nation. And to see the development of the players through that process, and to see how well they did in the classroom, how well they did on the court, and now how well they're doing in life afterward, is just all the rewards I'll ever need. And then to be able to move on to University of Florida and be able to coach at the University of Florida, the men's program. Not many coaches get the opportunity to coach on both sides. So to have that opportunity, number one, that Jeremy Foley entrusted me to come to Florida and to lead the program was pretty special in and of itself. And then to try to develop the culture and develop the overall program to a place where we could be not only competitive, but be one of the top teams in our conference, which is the toughest conference in the nation, the SEC, and then also to be one of the most, accomplished programs in the nation, where we won the national championship in 2021. And what made that even more special is that my son was involved on that team, and he played number 5 for us during that national championship match, and he was the one who clinched the national championship. So you can just imagine how overwhelmed I was at being part of that and seeing that team do everything that they did, and just how much respect I had for those young men and everything they sacrificed to get there, and then for my own son to be a part of that. And along the way through this journey, having a daughter that also played at a high level, that played 2 years at University of South Carolina and then 2 years at the University of Florida, and to see her growth and her development as well, just amazing. And my 2 kids are on 2 different paths, 2 different journeys. She's now working for Morgan Stanley, and I couldn't be prouder of what she's doing and the young lady that she's become. And now my son playing on the professional tour after 2 years at Florida, to be like in a short amount of time, top 20 in the world, is just hard to comprehend some days. And now being able to be out on the road with him full time and coach him against the best players in the world is pretty special. So I've been blessed. It's been an amazing journey.
Tell me more about the people who are instrumental in your career, coaches.
Yeah, I always have to start with my parents, because they're the ones that made the biggest sacrifice. It's not easy to afford tennis, and for a lot of people, it's not a possibility. And I would say that my parents made it a possibility for us, and especially for me, being the 4th child that they had and the youngest. I was afforded a few more opportunities that my brothers and sisters didn't even have. So I'm thankful for that, and thankful for just how they supported me. But I also had some great coaches along the way. Dick Schreiber, my first coach, Steve Bloomberg, my second coach, Bill Tim, who is still coaching me today, helping me through life and helping me coach my kids. And he's been an instrumental part of my growth as a person first and foremost, but also as a tennis player and a tennis coach. So I'm super, super thankful for him. And one of the other guys that's been with me since I was 12 or 13 years old is Kenny Thorne. And he's been my right-hand guy, my doubles partner, my rock, someone that I look to, someone who has, just been a support, and also someone who has competed against me. And so that he pushed me and I pushed him. And so pretty special to think about that. And then just all the players that I got to work with at the college level that have helped me become a better person and a better coach.
You're a role model at so many different levels of tennis, from junior, college, to pros, to coaching. Tell me what that means to you and what legacy you want to be remembered for in tennis.
Yeah, I think my dad wasn't super supportive of my tennis at a young age. He didn't understand why we were spending money on lessons and tournaments and travel and all these things. And once I got my college scholarship at Georgia Tech, he really jumped on board. He kind of saw the bigger picture all of a sudden. He understood what it was all about. And when he would finally come and support me at matches that we play at Georgia Tech and afterward professionally, the thing that he always talked about was what he heard in the stands from other people that talked about me, about the person that I was, about my character. And he'd always tell me the most proud thing that he had was thinking about me, and that I had developed into a man that other people respected. And so that meant more than anything in the world to him. And so knowing that, and always wanting to please your parents, it's something that I've always held on to. And I thought, okay, I always want to be a good example for others. I always want to treat people the way I want to be treated. And that's something that's really, really important to me. And I hope more than anything, more than any other win or anything else, I hope my legacy is just about that I treated people the right way, and I respected people, and I respected everyone from all different walks of life.
You said Arthur Ashe is someone you really looked up to. Tell me how he helped shape you as the tennis player you became.
Wow, that's a tough one, because you get emotional when you think about Arthur, and just, I remember as a young kid, one of my first or my second racket was the Arthur Ashe Comp 2 head racket. And, I had to have that racket, It's one of those things where you look up to somebody and you see someone doing something you'd love to do, and then you saw the grace and how he did things with dignity. You saw a black man in a world where it was predominantly white, and not only did he play, but he played at the highest level, winning Wimbledon. I mean, just getting to the top of the game. And then not only doing that, but being an ambassador for our sport and thinking about bigger issues that were bigger than tennis. And so he became someone that was, to me, larger than life. And to be able to have the opportunity to meet him when I was 18 years old, I remember going over to Atlanta for the Davis Cup and going to watch. And I had the opportunity to meet him that first time, and I just thought, man, I'm meeting someone that I've always looked up to and someone that I've always respected, someone that I really wanted to emulate myself. And so, I kind of carried him with me the whole time that I played, and I still do today. Someone that really inspired me to do the things that I'm doing now.
Okay, last question.
Yeah.
You're in the Huntsville Madison County Athletic Hall of Fame, and Georgia Tennis Hall of Fame, and Georgia Tech Athletic Hall of Fame. Tell me what it means to have the Southern Tennis Hall of Fame, to have this.
Yeah, I think the Southern section, I just think it's the best section in the country. And I've always thought that. I felt like we had just amazing players. Obviously being in the Southeast where you can play tennis year round, probably contributes to a lot of that. But I just remember as a kid going around Alabama and getting housing everywhere I went. And even around the South, you go to tournaments, we couldn't afford the hotel, so families would put us up. And just to meet so many people that were so giving and loving, and you wouldn't expect like a young black kid to receive that type of treatment, around the South. And but we did. And my mom had a lot to do with that, with the type of person that she was, just so graceful. But I just think the Southern section is something special. And every time I got to be endorsed from our state, to be able to play Southern tournaments, and then to be endorsed from the Southern section to represent our section in national events, I always did that with pride, because I knew I was coming from the best of the best. And so now as I look at the people that are in the Hall of Fame, the ones that have come before me, and I look at that list, it's incredible. And a lot of them are probably going to be at this induction ceremony. And some of them won't be. Some of them are no longer living. Army Neely's one guy that I just love and respect that's no longer with us, but his legacy will live on. My coach Bill Tim's in the hall. There's so many more, starting with Bitsy Grant back in the 70s and working their way all the way till now. And so many people that I've respected and looked up to. So to be a part of this now myself, it's kind of surreal, but something that I don't take lightly and very thankful for.